like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion, like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Welcome, everyone. I am so excited and thrilled tonight to be on Patriot Nightcap. I want to welcome my lovely guest, Miki Klann. You might know her through Scott McKay, bondsforthewin.com interview recently, which I watched and said, okay, Scott, you have to connect me to this lovely woman, because not only is she a mom and she's got the weapon in the arsenal. Miki, you're also in Arizona. We have to meet up at some point. So I said, I'm so thrilled. And Miki, thank you for coming on. And I truly believe that it's the moms who are going to roll back this loose, this crazy tsunami of lunacy. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts and tell us, what is it about the bonds in the arsenal that we have? How did you make this discovery? And how can we actually use this to set these school districts back and liberate our kids from what is happening across America?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, I got to tell you, this has been a whirlwind. The reason I started looking at bonds, and it was actually a girlfriend of mine on Telegram, her name is Anne, and she and I started Bonds for the Win because there was this guy named Steven, and he was being interviewed on the SGT report, and he basically walked straight into his board and he said, this is my letter of intent to file a claim against your surety bond if you guys don't remove these mask mandates. All the board members looked at each other and they immediately voted him down. And Anne and I looked at each other and were like, what just happened? What was that?
What just happened?
Yeah,
right.
So we started this website called Bonds for the Win, and we started like taking in clients, if you will. I mean, just mamas that wanted to step up. And we had this girl named Trish, who we also had met on Telegram. She's from Illinois. 16-year-old son, autistic, didn't want to wear the mask, didn't understand it, kept trying to rip it off. The teachers were shoving it in his face, like it's like those horrible videos we've seen where they're taping it on their face. So the young man started kind of doing physical damage, like bodily injury to himself, and ended up in a mental institution. So Trish went ahead and went down to the office, got the bond, the surety bond for the school treasurer. Turns out the school treasurer was bonded for $4.6 million per claim.
Wow.
Now, that is a total liability that is literally on the superintendent and the superintendent alone. In order for these elected officials and appointed, because treasurers are appointed, to be in office, they have to be licensed, bonded, and insured, and they have to sign their oath of office. People don't even realize.
People
aren't even signed in. They don't even like signed in.
This is incredible. This is incredible. Okay.
Yeah, so what happened with Violet in Illinois is she went ahead and served this woman. She was on the run, by the way. I mean, she called the police on her, all this stuff. She's on the run. She ended up serving her this letter of intent, because step one is you get a hold of the bond. Step two is you serve them a letter of intent.
Okay.
So she served her a letter of intent to file a claim against her bond policy if she did not, A, stop the mask mandates, B, admit she was wrong, and C, resign, because this woman really. And so she did nothing. After 6 days, Violet went ahead and filed the claim.
Okay.
As the day after she filed the claim, we have the lawyers and I'm just sharing the story again. I know I've shared this with
Yeah,
Scott, but
no,
it's so
please
good for
share
your
because
followers.
my audience may not be aware of this. And so please share the story. And the fact that she's on the run is an admission of guilt.
Oh yeah, they're all on the run, all
Yeah,
over the
they're all on
world.
the run.
Yeah,
They're
all over the
on the
country,
run,
I should
y'all.
say. Yeah. So Violet, the day after she filed, we have their lawyers on record in a publicly kept meeting saying we need more beer and heroin.
Wow.
Yeah, because you guys are in big trouble. You have to drop the mask mandates. You have to, we just had to stop all state and federal funding to the schools. And they left the superintendent out to dry with this $4.6 million in potential liability on the claim. And by the way, there were other parents involved and also filed a claim. And remember, the insurance company will try to lump it into one claim, but no, these are separate parents, separate instances, separate children. And in this case, it was a separate liability per claim. She had 10 other parents willing to file a claim against this lady.
Amazing.
So,
okay.
So that started a bit of a chain reaction. So in Illinois, basically what happened was Violet felt guilty after about a week because they had also sent out emails to all of the parents asking for volunteers because they couldn't pay their teachers. Okay. Because they stopped all state and federal funding. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So
it's all lumped together.
Yeah. So Violet started feeling a little bit bad about this. After a week, she let off because the teacher had, or the super had pulled the mask mandates.
Okay.
So we were thinking, okay, we won. You know, she didn't even tell us she was going to do this. She just, out of act of good faith. And she thought she was letting this woman off the hook, like she'd be relieved. Nope. The woman went right back to mask mandates. They went right back to this ridiculous, overreach. And then what happened was there were other parents in other adjoining districts that were also suing under color of law for the same thing, right? You cannot force our children to wear a mask. You cannot practice medicine without a license.
There you go.
You cannot take away the parental right and freedom to make health related decisions for their children. It's a state and federal law.
Right. So now a lot of these teachers are getting up and saying to these kids, do this and do that, when they shouldn't even be doing that. And I actually feel bad for some of them because they're just following the rules, right? They're just
well, this gets
doing
bigger.
their job, right?
This gets bigger. So 149 districts got together in Illinois. And they sued their state board of education saying, you are coercing us and you're actually forcing us to break the law. And they won. So the judge came out and ruled that yes, masks and vaccines are actually a type of evil. And that not only is there no legal standing for these districts to be pushing this on our children, but on top of that, they're breaking state and federal laws. They could be put in prison, not only held liable, but be put in prison for their acts.
Incredible.
So the districts are realizing, oh, wow, we are in big trouble.
We could be held liable and suffer the consequences. Okay. So what happened to you at your school district? And let's get into that because I want just anyone watching this to understand the weapon and the power that they have and the steps that they can take to first get a bond.
Yeah.
And then what's step B to serve the letter of intent. But could you tell me what happened at your school? Because that's when my eyebrows raised and I said, oh my goodness, because right now I feel like I'm in an okay school district, but you never know.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, so in the state of Arizona, there have been so many revisions to some of these bond laws that they revised the state statutes to say that all of the elected officials can be bonded under Ducey's blanket bond. So the governor's blanket bond. And at first, when I heard about this, I was like, oh no, single point of, I thought, oh man, how am I going to get a hold of that bond? Right.
Right.
But then I realized it's a single point of failure. If I get a hold of that 11-page document, I've got every district in the whole state.
Amazing. The single point of failure, those are operative words. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I had to do quite a lot of meditating. I'm not even kidding. Like I'm genuinely being honest. I requested it via the FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act. as well as via the Sunshine Act and the state laws, because it literally even says in the state statutes for Arizona that this document is to be kept by the Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, and provided as a public record to any concerned citizen. You don't have to have a kid in the school. You don't have to even be in the state. You just have to be a concerned citizen.
Just a concerned citizen, someone who's paying taxes and they're concerned, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, needless to say, they're not going to give you the right policy. They're going to give you information to the risk management department, which is it's a whole nother insurance scam that we're riding into. This is a huge smoke out operation.
I mean, this is all funded by big pharma, right? Okay. So, and then maybe you can also explain the ESSER, what that stands for, what that is, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. These all great questions. So the ESSER funding was distributed by the Biden administration and the CDC to the tune of $125 billion to each of the districts throughout the country. Now, in Arizona, they received over $2 billion, and every single district took this bribe. And I get why it was confusing how they did it, because the Trump administration did round 1 and round 2 of the ESSER fundings to get kids back in school. But then the Biden administration rolled out way more money in the third round of funding, and they made it based on if you would continue to basically push this agenda. Will you agree to masks? Will you agree to contact tracing? Will you agree to do, these free test kits? Will you agree to run vaccine clinics at your schools? Will you agree to bring in our social workers to push our agenda even further, right? Some districts in Arizona took over $126 million in this third round.
Oh my God.
And my school district, Scottsdale Unified, took 30 million.
Okay.
Total across the three. So 19 million in this latest round.
So we've got some blood money happening here.
They don't realize it's bribe money. They don't realize that this is genocide, that this thing is
well, even if you don't call it that, the fact that it's experimental, anyone with common sense is going to say, I'm not sure about that. And what about natural immunity? So I mean, I've certainly looked into this, and I'm like, my daughter has natural immunity. So let's think about that for a second, right? Okay.
The stats are in though. The whistleblowers are coming out about the military or armed forces, and they're seeing 1,000% increased rise of neurological disorders, over 300% increase on blood clots, stroke, myocarditis, heart attack, cancers, miscarriage. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
I know.
If anybody's not looking at the stats now, they're just not looking. Yeah. This is an agenda. This is a communist takeover agenda. And this is our way to call our school boards out. This is a way to put it back on them and say, oh, no, here's the facts. And when you get their attention by serving them a letter of intent to file a claim against their surety bond, they have to take notice. They can't just sit there and keep you behind a glass, the glass wall with your mask on and your or whatever they're doing, right? Oh, right. So let's say know that we're trying to protect them from something more fatal. Do you know what I mean? Like if just 10 kids in the school took this experimental thing and died, think about the liability they'd be facing then. Oh
my God, no. Okay, God. Okay, so let's just say tomorrow, Miki, I get a letter, mask mandates, And I'm like, well, hell no. Because, in New Jersey, I said, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not participating in this lunacy. I kept my daughter home. She was quite happy with that. But now I'm in Arizona and things seem to be, I'm living in my little bubble. But let's just say for anyone out there who's going through this and they have a mask mandate. So step 1, do you literally just walk into the office and say, Freedom of Information Act, Sunshine Act, hand me the letter of intent? Or do you have a link?
So there's 3 steps. Step 1, you got to get a hold of their bond.
Get a hold of their bonds. But how do you do that exactly?
Yeah. So on our website, we have, it's called Bonds for the Win, BONDS for the win. Okay. You can go to our step-by-step process under surety bonds.
Okay.
And the first step, we have bond request letters, and we've got them for every state. So if you pull that up, you'll find we found out they call these things all different things. Sometimes they call them a surety bond. Sometimes it's been nestled in an insurance policy, like a liability policy. Sometimes it's called an errors and omissions. So we cover every one of them for you in the letter. We also state your state statutes. So your state laws, we declare your state laws with regard to bonds so that they have no way of refuting your request. If they don't give it to you, it's because they know they're in big trouble. Do you know how many insurance companies and agents are contacting us right now saying their phones are ringing off the hook all over the country because these people are trying to get bonded overnight?
Miki, you have started just a wave across the country. And I want to call out, Nino, let's call him out, Miki. We need Nino to interview you. I want to lock arms with you and I want to help you with this. And as much as I possibly can, I know Scott McKay has, obviously he put me in touch with you, but I feel like this has to just be, blown up so people understand that they actually have power. The thing that concerns me as well, the social workers, what are they doing exactly? What is this indoctrination?
Yeah.
There's some fishy, suspicious stuff happening there, but so let's just cut back to bondsforthewin.com.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to request the letter. You need to get the bond, request the letter.
Well, so there's basically, it's really only comes down to 2 letters.
Okay.
One, you send them a letter that requests their bond information.
Okay.
We've given that to you. You can email it to them. You can send it via certified mail. You can, you can literally send. And by the way, even if they're under a blanket policy, they should know about it.
Okay.
So if they don't provide it to you, they're lying or they're running. Okay. Now, a lot of times we're finding that, like I said, in the state of Arizona, there's a blanket policy for all statewide officials. But see, there's zones. You've got the state, and then you've got county officials, and then you've got city and town officials. So the county level, you have like the board of commissioners. So if you go after your board of commissioners, you can get every district to stop these mandates in your entire county. Okay. So if you go upstream, go to the head of the snake.
Right.
The head of the snake is Biden. And we really hope that everyone ends up turning all the way upstream, right? That's what happened in Illinois. They went after their state board. Once they go up to the state board of education, then they should go even further upstream up to the Biden administration, because that's where the money's coming from. What people don't realize is that these elected officials, they didn't write these agendas. They didn't write the critical race theory programs. They didn't write the LGBTQ plus program, which is called GLSEN, GLSEN.org. Every mother should look this up. It's anti-police, very pro LGBTQ plus. The plus stands for pedophilia. This stuff is already in your school. Even if they're not masking your kids, Tresha, they're definitely pushing critical race theory, and they're pushing vaccines on their people. That's what they're doing. They're recommending them, and they're telling them that their age of consent is 5. That was part of collecting these funds, these ESSER funds.
Have you seen anything firsthand in your school district tell me what you've seen, because this is wild to me, because think about this, guys, we're in Arizona. Okay. So if this can happen in Arizona, coming to a school district near you. So,
it's happening everywhere.
Yeah. So what did you experience in your school district that, raised the, alarm bell, or hit the alarm bells for you?
Well, not only the masks, not only the vaccines, not only are they telling us, my kids at their age of consent is 5, they're running gay pride parades without telling any parents. So now let me just play that out for you. You're having a parade and the kids want to be cool. So they declare that they're gay to be part of the parade. And then next, half the kids think that they're gay. And then I've got other friends in my daughter's school who were suicidal, and they were leaning on her for support. And that's when I had to pull her out. I couldn't. And then there were other schools.
Too much for our kids, I mean, this is too much for them. That's a lot of pressure. And it is true. You get into school and then the kids want to be cool. They just want to fit in,
So they'll say anything. They'll say and do anything to fit in. And it's not just the school agendas. It's the TikTok agendas. It's that they're giving our kids like laptops and they're not parental controlled. It took me 5 minutes to find bad stuff on this laptop that they issued to my
Miki,
son.
we talked about that when I first called you. I said, I remember the day that, this pandemic broke out or whatever. And all of a sudden, boom, my kid was on, it was, Messenger, kids Messenger. And it was it consumed. It was suddenly okay, going after the kids.
And they're all on
Day
Zoom.
one.
And so that means Microsoft has your children, every facial image, their voice, where they live, their address, everything. Why did Zoom come out of nowhere on April 2020? It wasn't even a thing. It wasn't even, it was pushed. This is an agenda, guys. This is how they're basically profiling every one of our children. Yeah.
So we're going to put the links within this video or at the bottom of the video for anyone who needs this information. But okay, so what happened with the parade? That happened, and then
another school in our district did an entire day of silence out of respect for the LGBTQ community. So this is how, I mean, people have got to wake up. If we are going to be teaching critical race theory, in other words, if we're going to be teaching about slavery for the African Americans, we should be teaching slavery for all. I mean, there are people being trafficked over the Mexican border. What about the slavery happening in Mexico? What about all the slavery of the Native Indians? You know what I'm saying? What about all the people that were shipped off into these, boarding schools? I mean, what about all the Irish that were shipped in trains, and in boxes in cages? I mean, it's got.
Sorry, but in an entire day of silence.
Yeah, the kids had to be silent for the entire day out of respect.
I think that was just a very sneaky way of getting them to be silent. But look, I'm for a broad education, but that's conditioning. That's crazy. That's just nuts.
And they came in like a thief in the night for their minds. Seriously. And they're telling them that they're a white supremacist if they don't, if they don't.
I mean, if that's the case, why aren't we getting prayer, back in school? I'd like to have a little prayer in the morning. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Why don't we roll that back?
Right.
Totally. Like, totally. What are we doing here? So, okay. So did you personally, did you find out and submit your letter of intent to your school?
Yeah. Like, yes. What? Okay. So right after I got a hold of the bond, and I got a hold of Ducey's bond, because I had created a YouTube video and someone had copied it a while back and sent it to a friend of a friend and then sent it to me. So that's how I first received this bond. It's not because Ducey was following the law. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so then, and by the way, anyone is guilty for any acts that they committed during the time of this policy. So beginning to end date, and I could file claims for the next year. They still committed the act during the date of the active policy.
Okay.
So, yeah. So like the statute of limitations is, you could still file a year out, is what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the first step is to get the bond. The second step, and by the way, I have it for everyone in Arizona. If you're not happy and you want to serve, you contact us. So then the second step was I served them with a letter of intent to file a claim against their surety bond. So when you put them on notice, you basically have to give them, who you are, who you're declaring, this violation against. So for me, it was all 5 of my school board of directors at the district level. Don't worry about your regular schools. Go up to your district level. Right. They're the ones who are pushing the decision here. So I went to the district and I served them during the board meeting. And in that letter of intent, I listed the fact that they're in violation of 25 state, federal, and international laws. And I told them that if they don't remove all mention of the mask, all recommendations of the masks, all recommendations of these vaccines, if they don't stop the vaccine clinics, and if they don't if they don't get rid of all this filth in the library, because they're grooming our kids with some of this material in the library. And then also that I asked actually this one gentleman to resign because he was caught profiling 47 parents. He had actually created a dossier on 47 of the parents in the district who were anti-mask, and he had hired a private investigator. He had pictures of their children on his computer. He had looked into their divorce records, their social security numbers, their social media accounts, their financial records. Can you believe that? No. Yeah, and he still won't step down.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's a big deal in my district, but I served them with a letter of intent. And now I had 10 letters signed by 10 parents
Mhm.
for each of the 5 members. So I basically serve them with a stack of 10 each letters of intent because they're
Okay.
each personally liable in Arizona for up to $100,000 per claim.
Amazing.
Now, they didn't do anything. They didn't even call me back. Not a single word. So I went ahead and I filed the claim. And when I did that last Friday,
Okay.
oh, and by the way, I did actually have to send a process server to get that guy Greenberg, the guy that I was just telling you about that
Yeah.
had dossiered on all the parents. I did actually, because he didn't show up. He knew because he
Of course
saw Lee
not.
Dundas. He saw Lee Dundas there with me.
Yeah. Oh, he did. Then of course I would run too. Oh, I saw her recently. She was pretty amazing. She brought the house down at the Reawakened tour.
Yeah. So it's funny because I brought in an arsenal. It was like Lee Dundas, then me,
Yeah,
then
I
Ron
can't even.
Watkins.
Good for you. Wow.
We're
What a
gonna make a
powerhouse.
scene. We
What
made
a powerhouse. I cannot have, they were like, bye, we're leaving. As Scott McKay would say, milk toast, MTV.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish I had been there.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
it's on YouTube. It is like I just got blocked again on YouTube today for 2 more weeks. I'm in the
Oh, that's a
doghouse.
badge of honor. I mean, that's good. It hasn't happened to me yet. It might after this show.
Oh shoot, I gotta be careful with my words.
Okay, so bonds for the win. Okay, so then go on. So
I want to tell you that, yeah. So after I filed my letter of intent, which by the way, we posted that online too. There are samples online for anyone to see how we do this.
Okay.
And then what I did was I filed the claim. Now, the first thing they did, and I even recorded myself calling it in so that all the parents could see how easy it was for me to file a claim. And they immediately redirected me to the risk management department in the government. And they posed as a claims adjuster. Isn't that fancy?
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
like
Oh,
we're such idiots. They
my
think we're so
goodness.
stupid.
Right. Okay. So little detour there.
Yeah, they take you in detours. And what you do is you just contact the actual company. So I ended up contacting Allied, which is their insurance company. And I created a claim and they tried to once again to lump me into 4 separate claims because I did not end up, even though I served all 5, I didn't end up filing a claim for one of the board members because he's always voted anti-mask. And this is very important for a lot of the parents to know. It is our fault that we lost, control over this, that we weren't paying attention. So if you really are,
everyone was so freaked out and just also unaware, like how are we to know about ESSER funding or any of this? I mean, but you have to just follow the money, I think, like anything else, right?
well, they were supposed to disclose it and they did. Many of them did post their ESSER contracts online, but we weren't paying attention and it did come like a thief in the night. So I had to kind of go back and watch all the recorded sessions to see how every one of them had voted in the past on masks and stuff like that. So I didn't end up serving one of the guys, but the other 4 I did. I served all 4 and they tried to lump it into one claim. No, people, they're all separate people. I don't care if they're in I don't care if they're in the blanket policy. It's a separate claim. And if you get 50 claims, do you understand how this starts piling up? And next thing you know, Ducey can't get covered.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So Ducey might be without a bond here in 1 month.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how soon do you find out like what happens next? You just did this, right?
Now I'm in the system. Now we have a claim number. Now we watch, but I've got 15 more parents with 10, letters each.
Yeah.
Who are ready to serve this month. So get ready for some fireworks. It's happening in Kansas. It's happening in North Carolina. It's happening in California. We have a website on our website.
This is amazing. Do you just get calls all day long?
All day. Oh my gosh, the one we just posted. We got to show this one after this interview. The one we just posted in Iredell, Iredell in North Carolina. These amazing patriots, and I'm telling you, they're mamas, papas, grandparents, concerned citizens. Anyone can do this. And
we've had enough. People have just had enough. They're like, you know what? No more with this criminal activity. And you're not telling us what to do with our children. Okay. And where are our rights? We are raising these kids and their health belongs to us.
Yes.
Should. Okay.
100%.
Right.
And so this is hilarious. They go in and she walks right up to give her speech, this mother, and they literally all stand up and run out like cockroaches as she's speaking. They turn off the lights. They try to adjourn the meeting. Do you realize that during this interview, during this video, all the parents could have stood up right then and there and declared new board members? None of the board members even have an oath of office. This is what this smoke out operation is doing. Everyone's getting up and requesting these oaths of office, and they're realizing half of the state of California isn't even sworn in.
This is incredible. So these people are taking these positions and they really, it's like illegitimate is what you're saying?
Yes. And before they started watering down these laws,
wow,
it said,
because
if you don't have an oath,
Nikki, they act all powerful, you know? Like, I guess it's like once the smoke and mirrors and the smoke starts to clear, then you're really finding out what's happening behind the curtain, right? Okay.
You have to realize that these people have been turned against us. The curtain was put up, the glass wall, the 2-minute lift, you know, they took money, they paid themselves under the table, and now they're hiding. They don't want to hear from us. They think they're doing what's right. You know,
they look to God not to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah. But when they started realizing in Illinois, the 147 districts realized, oh, wait a minute. And this is what the judge ruled. Okay. She didn't just rule that this is some type of evil. She ruled they are committing felonies, that this agenda is actually asking these individuals to commit felonies. And when they realize they've committed a felony and they're personally liable, trust me, they're not going to keep their job. Some of these board members are only paid $2,000.
But that had to be in fine print somewhere.
I mean,
like there
was all under the guise of safety. In
the
fine print, this is what it said to these boards. It would come from the health departments. It would say, now you can't legally enforce these things, but they're highly recommended.
Okay.
But they never said, and you'd be breaking the law if you enforce these things.
Right. Nuremberg codes. I mean, what about that? they are, yeah, this is unbelievable
for them. But in Iredell, I mean, the police are trying to stop them. They're turning off the lights as they're speaking. This poor woman is screaming about the fact that in their play, and this is the case a lot too, in the theater programs, they are literally trying to get boys to kiss boys on stage, you know, because they're telling stories of transgender and, you know, gay and homosexual. This is how they're infiltrating, right? It's through the theater within the schools. So she's standing up there reading this, you know, speech that she had prepared saying, you know, you guys are trying to get boys to kiss boys on stage and girls to kiss girls and all this stuff. I mean, it's really, really damning information for this school board. Of course they ran out. They couldn't silence her.
I come from a theater background. I don't hold anyone's sexuality against them. Okay. But, you know, listen, you do you, you know what I mean? But when it comes to our children, first of all, why are we even having this conversation with them? That's something they need to figure out on their own with their parents. You know what I mean? Like this shouldn't be happening in schools.
No,
it shouldn't be. And also you know, let's be cool. So they feel like they have to follow along with some agenda in order to be accepted. And, you know, kids are impressionable and they are soaking this stuff in. And I'm really convinced, Miki, that if we don't stand up, you know, and speak out, then we're complicit.
That video
imagine if you wouldn't do what you're doing right now, really, if you wouldn't be doing this, what are the repercussions down the road? That all of our kids are just, you know, masked and suffering because they are the vulnerable. They're the easy ones to target.
Absolutely. And it's amazing because it's not just the parents in this movement. The kids are doing it now too. I don't know if
they're walking out. They're walking out. Did you see that? I know in some of the school, I know they're walking out. They're saying no mas.
100 of us are just
buying into
up, and if they kick us out, they're discriminating and we're going to get them for that too. I mean, you know, the kids are doing it respectfully. They know it's not the teacher's fault. They know that everyone's just following orders so they don't lose their job. But at the end of the day, if we don't stand in our sovereignty and make a huge statement now, you know, because it's gone way too far.
Right.
It's gone way too far.
These
clinics in downtown Phoenix, at the Phoenix Unified School District, they are paying these kids, these are inner city kids, $100 per jab. And they're paying the teachers $200 per kid who gets it.
Wow.
How is that even?
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
And I want to give a big shout out to
amazing.
Shuri. She's running for the State Board of Education. I believe it's president. Let me pull up her info because she has brought a lot to my attention.
Mm.
Uh,
God, I knew it was bad, but I
Shuri
didn't know it was getting this bad, Miki.
Yeah. Sherry Sapir. I just want to say this to all the Arizona residents. SHIRY SAPIR. I don't know if I said that right. Sherry Sapir. She's running for the Board of Education, and she is like a mama bear like us. You know, she's very aware, very awake. She needs the $5 donations to help her, you know, get across the line. And it's, you know, don't do more, just do the $5. So just want to plug her really quick because she's been an amazing.
Yes. Repeat that because I didn't quite get it. Sherry support. How do you spell that?
And I think she pronounces it Shuri, kind of like Sherry, but it's Shuri, SISHIRY.
Okay.
And it's Sapir, SAPIR.
Okay.
Yeah, we can maybe link her.
Yeah, I'll link her as well. So
Yeah.
bondsforthewin.com and Sherry Sapir. Okay.
Yeah.
What else, Miki, that I might have missed that is you know, pertinent to our interview? And so for mama bears who are just trying to do their best, but maybe didn't realize the power that they have within, right? That you just need to show up and get the letter of intent and file it. You actually have power over these school boards and these districts that have run crazy, drunk with power.
You sure do. I mean, you sure do. And not only that, but I'm learning today that these insurance agents, because we have people coming out of the woodwork, we've got lawyers, we've got underwriters, we've got policy writers, we've got claims adjusters, you know, we've got what I call code breakers, people that are just willing to go deep in the muck, you know what I mean? That just go deeper and deeper into these policies. We are finding that there are unions organized in California, for example, where there's like 4 zones. So think of it as 4 different unions, 4 different zones. So we just posted, like I said, on our website, if you want to get involved in California, and we've posted a Take Action in California. It's in our main navigation. And we've listed all the counties and the cities and the districts that we have your insurance policies for. It's one of the zones. That's why it's all kind of spread out. You know, it's not like a regional thing. It's zone specific. So think of it like a vein through the state. And so people are literally like serving tonight. I've got like 20 people serving tonight. one in California, one here in Arizona. It's going to be an every night affair right now. It's happening.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is just fantastic.
But this guy in Wisconsin called me today, and he interviewed an insurance agent, and the insurance agent is saying their phones are ringing off the hook because they're all trying to get coverage and they're, you know, scrambling to get it. And he said that you don't even need the bond in your hand. He said you can literally go and you do have to serve them. You do have to give them time to resolve the problem. We're not trying to overcorrect here. You don't want to ruin people's lives. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to bury.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are truthfully, like the teachers, especially, they're just not really aware because they think they're just following what, you know, they don't want to lose their jobs. Right. I mean, I understand that, but we're masking up our kids and we're ruining their lives. Hello.
Yeah, but the boards, they have a very important obligation. I mean, my board has 24,000 students under it. That's a lot of kids to be masking up and treating as if they're part of I just say it like it is. It's treating them like they're part of a cult.
Yes, that's right. They can't breathe. And I'm sorry, with something, I don't know, 99%. I mean, we know what's happening here. It's all a bunch of malarkey. 99% recovery for these kids. Come on. You know, I mean, no.
99.9999. No child has ever died of this flu. I mean, it's a joke.
People really have to wake up and say, okay, I need to just look at these numbers here and stop living in fear and let my kid breathe. You know, let my kid breathe. I don't know when we've ever done something so crazy like this.
No.
And they're the ones suffering, like truly suffering, not being able to, you know, sports being shut down, all kinds of things that have happened the last few years that I just can't believe. I mean, I fled New York. I'm like, oh my God, hell no. because my daughter's in, in gymnastics and, I had the mothers yelling at me, she needs to stand in her circle and mask up while doing rigorous workouts. I'm like, are you out of your mind? No, she needs to breathe. We're leaving.
Good for you. I'm so proud of you because it's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to leave your home, your residence, your school. I mean, your kids might have even been mad at you. All right. I mean, that's the thing that people don't realize is that our children are fragile even at home. Okay. My daughter wanted to get pulled from school, but my son, he's 8th grade. He wants to stay in the fight. He wants to stand in his sovereignty and teach his friends to wake up. But, I think in any totalitarian takeover, it's said that you have to deeply hypnotize a third of your target, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they know they have to deeply hypnotize a third. And then another third will just follow suit because they don't want to upset anybody.
Right. But to target the kids is really very clever. And I think it was Hitler who said, give me your child at the age of 5 and he's mine.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because it's the truth. It's like, you go after the kids and that's where it starts. They're the most vulnerable and they're going to listen, so, I mean, I've seen some stuff lately that just gives me the shivers, with our kids. So
that video you sent me today made me cry.
Oh my God.
All the hands,
signs. I just want to breathe. I want to see my friends smile, maybe I'll post this at the end of our interview, but Miki, I applaud you. You are really, oh my God, you are making just this wave of a difference in people's lives. And I just have to say, like, imagine that you didn't do this, well, then we would just continue down this road of insanity. And
well, it's a quantum shift. I mean, it is not just me. It's all we, the people. We're
Mhm.
going to take back our country. And I, like I said, I just hope the people do it well and do it vigorously and do it wisely and don't overcompensate. You know what I mean? It's a way for us to put these people back, I don't know, into reality, put them back in check.
Well, in check, put them on notice, put them on
Mhm.
notice. You don't have this overweening, power and it stops here it stops with the moms.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
You don't touch my kids. Yeah, you don't mess with my kids.
You don't mess with the moms. What are they thinking?
No.
You don't mess with the moms, so here we go. And Miki, thank you. You're a liberator. And and I'm gonna have my brother watch this, and then I want him to jump in the fight with us.
Yeah. Well, and I would like to talk on that for just a quick second. I was saying that your brother's kind of like the prize fighter of this movement, and he knows how to find the weak points. What we're doing now is we're finding, okay, so these certain states are ready to shear, meaning they're ready to break. Yes. Illinois did it first. Next, it's going to be North Carolina. It might be Arizona, it might be, Kansas. We've got mama bears going after, again, their board of commissioners. So they're taking down all the districts within the county. And when the districts within the county start realizing that, hey, they might actually be liable for some lawsuits that could ensue after, that's when they start turning upstream against their board of education. So that's what we want to see happening in every state. So when we start having insurance providers that are not following through with their claims, we, the people all over the world, need to start, sending them letters, inundate them.
Right.
It's time to start putting pressure where a state is about, where the mama bears stood up, they did their job. Now we need to come in and do our job and get behind them. Do you know what I mean? All the keyboard warriors out there need to jump in and send pressure letters, because there's an Overwatch group everywhere. Mm-hmm. So for example, the insurance companies, they don't like getting negative points against them from the higher overreaching state boards that oversee the insurance agencies, right? There's also a federal board that oversees all insurance agencies throughout the country. So, you actually have to, go through a series of rules, regulations, and guidelines just to be approved, to be a federally approved insurance agency. Mm-hmm. So if you're not following the rules, you see lawyers are jumping in on this, because this is a bipartisan issue. This is an insurance issue at this point, so we as patriots throughout the whole US now need to start, pay attention, come to our website. We're going to start posting where their weak points are, where to start putting pressure, because it's not just about fighting locally now. It's about all of us coming together, fighting nationally.
That's right. Well, trust me when I tell you, I'll have my brother watch this. He'll share it. And, we need his left hook. We need the pressure.
We need the uppercut.
We need the uppercut. We need the jabs. And, you know,
I was joking with Scott McKay that it's the
Yeah.
lioness in the tribe that does the hunting, and she brings the game back to the men to do with it as they please.
That's right. But we're like, hear us roar. You know, we're taking over. It's done.
Yeah.
And Miki, you know, thank you. My God, you're amazing. You're a liberator. You're in Arizona. I'm taking you to lunch, and that's it. End of story. And I'm going to provide our links. And we'll be in touch with Nino, and you know, God bless you, and thank you for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Tresha. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Such a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too deep. Oh, it's been 2 years, I miss my home, but there's a fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, I still believe. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. A lot of fight left in me. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move.